Hey everyone. So Daniel and I went to a continuing education seminar recently in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So we are going to go over a couple things that we learned from that seminar. The course was DNS Strength taught by Dr. Rich Ohm. DNS stands for Dynamic Neuromuscular Stabilization, and it is a training and rehab method based on how the nervous system naturally develops movement and stability in early life. DNS is rooted in developmental kinesiology, which is how we develop as infants, and it also shows that optimal movement is efficient for health and performance. DNS teaches deep muscle coordination through proper intra-abdominal pressure, which is guided by the diaphragm, the primary muscle of respiration and stabilization. Unlike abdominal hollowing, DNS builds a dynamic pressure-based core system to restore and strengthen optimal movement, helping minimize injury and maximize performance. This picture right here shows intra-abdominal pressure. So with the diaphragm pushing down towards the pelvic floor, you create this pressure, and then that pressure is going outward against the abdominal wall, and the abdominal muscles, as they isometrically contract, they are creating this pressure in 360 degrees. So this is very important for core stability and also for strength and movement.
Hi, my name's Daniel. I'm going to talk you through how to create your own intra-abdominal pressure at home, or what we do here in clinic as well. So in front of me here, I have Dr. Yesias, who currently, you can see his ribs are flared up towards the ceiling. So I want to start off by creating a cylinder through his rib cage and his pelvic floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cue him to compress his ribs down. That's again going to create that cylinder in through his pelvic floor and his rib cage. So next, I'm going to have Dr. Yesias place his fingers just below his belt line near his lower abdomen, and I want him to see if he can push his breath into his fingers there. So creating that outward pressure into this diaphragm is going to create that intra-abdominal pressure that we're looking for here. And so you can see here that his fingers are expanding, his rib cage is still out, and then he's really creating that pressure here. So the last step to this is I want to make sure that he's able to pressurize into his spine, meaning trying to push his breath into the mat as he's doing this, and that's going to create that 360 degree pressure that we're looking for. So as he's exhaling here, I want him to make sure that he's able to keep that brace. It doesn't have to be 100% of that brace, but keep some of that brace in place, and you can see that he's creating that pressure here, still breathing through his fingers and pressurizing into the ground. So next up, I'm going to have him bring his knees over his hips here. This is our 3-month position, and you can see this in 3-month-old babies when they're starting to stabilize their core, so eventually they can crawl and stand up. So what I'm going to have him do now is bring his hands up in front of him here, still maintaining that rib, still breathing, still pressurizing into his spine, and I'm slowly going to have him go overhead. And you can see here that he's starting to create that little rib hinge again. So I'm going to cue him to hinge that back down. He's going to keep his hands here, and I'm going to have him tap his right heel onto the ground. Good. Still keeping that outward pressure. Then the left. And you should really feel that using his core there. Okay. So these are a couple ways you can start to do this at home in a loaded position. And we can talk more about creating some of that during some of those other functional movement patterns that we do here in clinic.